Birth name Roberta Cleopatra Flack, also known as Rubina Flake. Born February 10, 1937. Black Mountain, North Carolina. Died February 24, 2025, aged 88. New York City, U.S. Genres: jazz, soul, R&B. Occupations: singer-songwriter, musician. Instruments: vocals, keyboards. Years active 1968-2022. Labels: Atlantic 1968-1996. Angel Capital 1997. Ross 429, Sony ATV 2011-2018. Spouse Steve Novosel. Roberta Cleopatra Flack, February 10, 1937 to February 24, 2025, was an American singer and pianist known for her emotive, genre-blending ballads that spanned R&B, jazz, folk, and pop, and contributed to the birth of Quiet Storm. Her commercial success included the Billboard Hot 100 chart-topping singles, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, Killing Me Softly with His Song, and Feel Like Makin' Love. She became the first artist to win the Grammy Award for Record of the Year in consecutive years. Flack frequently collaborated with Donny Hathaway, with whom she recorded several hit duets, including Where Is the Love and The Closer I Get to You. She was one of the defining voices of 1970s popular music and remained active in the industry, later finding success with duets such as Tonight, I Celebrate My Love, with Peabo Bryson 1983, and Set the Night to Music, with Maxi Priest 1991. Across her decades-long career, she interpreted works by songwriters such as Leonard Cohen and members of the Beatles. In 2020, Flack received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Early life and education. Flack was born on February 10, 1937, in Black Mountain, North Carolina, to parents LaRon Flack, a U.S. Veterans Administration draftsman, and Irene née Council, a high school cook and church organist. Her family moved to Richmond, Virginia, before settling in Arlington, Virginia, when she was 5 years old. Her first musical experiences were in church. She grew up in a large musical family and often provided piano accompaniment for the choir of Lomax African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, singing hymns and spirituals. She also enjoyed going to the Baptist church down the street to listen to contemporary gospel music, including songs performed by Mahalia Jackson and Sam Cooke. Her father acquired a battered old piano for her, which she learned to play sitting on her mother's lap, and Flack took formal lessons in playing the piano when she was 9. She gravitated towards classical music and during her early teens excelled at classical piano, finishing second in a statewide competition for black students age 13, playing a Scarlatti sonata. In 1952, at the age of 15, she won a full music scholarship to Howard University in Washington, D.C., and was one of the youngest students ever to enroll there. She eventually changed her major from piano to voice and became assistant conductor of the university choir. Her direction of a production of Giuseppe Verdi's opera Aida received a standing ovation from the Howard University faculty. At Howard, she met her future collaborator, Donny Hathaway. Flack became a student teacher at a school near Chevy Chase, Maryland. She graduated from Howard University at 19 and began graduate studies in music there, but after the sudden death of her father, she had to find work to support herself. She took a job teaching music and English at a small, segregated high school in Farmville, North Carolina, for which she was paid $2,800 a year. Before becoming a professional singer-songwriter, Flack returned to Washington, D.C., and taught at Banneker, Brown, and Ribaut junior high schools. She also taught private piano lessons out of her home on Euclid Street, Northwest, in the city. During that time, her music career began to take shape on evenings and weekends in nightclubs. At the Tivoli Theater, she accompanied opera singers at the piano. During intermissions, she would sing blues, folk, and pop standards in a back room, accompanying herself on the piano. Later, she performed several nights a week at the 1520 Club, providing her own piano accompaniment. About this time, her voice teacher, Frederick Wilkie Wilkerson, told her that he saw a brighter future for her in pop music than in the classics. Flack modified her repertoire accordingly and her reputation spread. In 1968, she began singing professionally after she was hired to perform regularly at Mr. Henry's Restaurant, located on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Her break came in the summer of 1968 when she performed at a benefit concert in Washington to raise funds for a children's library in the city's ghetto district, and was seen by soul and jazz singer Les McCann, who was signed to Atlantic Records. He was captivated by Flack's voice and arranged an audition for her with Atlantic, in which she performed 42 songs from her nightclub repertoire in 3 hours for producer Joel Dorn. Dorn immediately told the label to sign her. In November 1968, she recorded 39 song demos in less than 10 hours. McCann later wrote in the liner notes of her first album, "Her voice touched, tapped, trapped, and kicked every emotion I've ever known. I laughed, cried, and screamed for more. She alone had the voice." 3 months later, Atlantic recorded Flack's debut album, First Take 1969, in 10 hours. The album was an elegant fusion of folk, jazz and soul, and included her version of British folk singer Ewan MacColl's song, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. Flack's second album, Chapter 2, appeared in 1970 and marked the start of her collaboration with Hathaway as arranger, accompanist and backing singer. In 1971, Flack participated in the legendary Soul to Soul concert film by Dennis Sanders, which was headlined by Wilson Pickett along with Ike and Tina Turner, Santana, the Staple Singers, Les McCann, Eddie Harris, the Voices of East Harlem and others. The U.S. delegation of musical artists featured in the film was invited to perform for the 14th anniversary of the March 6 Independence Day of Ghana. The film was digitally reissued on DVD and CD in 2004, but for unknown reasons Flack refused permission for her image and recording to be included. Her a cappella performance of the traditional spiritual, "Oh Freedom," retitled, "Freedom Song," on the original Soul to Soul LP soundtrack, is only available in the VHS version of the film. Flack's cover version of "Will You Love Me Tomorrow" hit number 76 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1972. Her Atlantic recordings did not sell particularly well, until actor-director Clint Eastwood used a song from First Take, "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face," written by Ewan MacColl, for the soundtrack of his directorial debut play Misty for Me. Greater Than It became the biggest hit of the year for 1972, spending 6 consecutive weeks at number 1 and earning Flack a million-selling gold disc. "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face" finished the year as Billboard's top song of 1972. The First Take album also went to number 1 and eventually sold 1.9 million copies in the United States. Eastwood, who paid $2,000 for the use of the song in the film, remained an admirer and friend of Flack's ever after. It was awarded the Grammy Award for Record of the Year in 1973. In 1983, Flack recorded the end music to the Dirty Harry film Sudden Impact, at Eastwood's request. In 1972, Flack began recording regularly with Donny Hathaway, scoring hits such as the Grammy-winning "Where's the Love," 1972, and later, "The Closer I Get to You," 1978, both of which became million-selling gold singles. Flack and Hathaway recorded several duets together, including 2 LPs, until Hathaway's death in 1979. After his death, Flack released their final LP as Roberta Flack featuring Donny Hathaway. On her own, Flack scored her second number 1 hit in 1973, "Killing Me Softly" with his song, written by Charles Fox, Norman Gimbel L., and Lori Lieberman. "Killing Me Softly" was awarded both Record of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Performance, Female, at the 1974 Grammy Awards. Its parent album was Flack's biggest-selling disc, eventually earning double platinum certification. In 1974, Flack released "Feel Like Makin' Love," which became her third and final number 1 hit to date on the Hot 100. She produced the single in her 1975 album of the same name under the pseudonym Rubina Flake. In 1974, Flack sang the lead on a Sherman Brothers song, "Freedom," which featured prominently at the opening and closing of the movie Huckleberry Finn. In the same year, she performed "When We Grow Up" with a teenage Michael Jackson on the television special Free to Be You and Me, and a year later in 1975 performed 2 Johnny Marks songs, "To Love and Be Loved," and "When Autumn Comes," for the animated Christmas special The Tiny Tree. Flack had a 1982 hit single with "Making Love," written by Burt Bacharach, the title track of the 1982 film of the same name, which reached number 13. She began working with Peabo Bryson, charting as high as number 2 on the UK charts with "Tonight, I Celebrate My Love," in 1983. In 1986, Flack sang the theme song, "Together Through the Years," for the NBC television series Valerie, later known as The Hogan Family. The song was used throughout the show's 6 seasons. In 1987, Flack supplied the voice of Michael Jackson's mother in the 18-minute short film for "Bad." Oasis was released in 1988 and failed to make an impact with pop audiences, though the title track reached number 1 on the R&B chart and a remix of "Ooh Look Out Here It Comes" topped the dance chart in 1989, after failing to chart on the Billboard Hot 100. In 1991, Flack found herself again in the U.S. top 10 with a cover of the Diane Warren Penn song, Set the Night to Music, performed as a duet with Maxi Priest that peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. In 1999, a star with Flack's name was placed on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In the same year, she gave a concert tour in South Africa. During her tour of the country, she performed Killing Me Softly for President Nelson Mandela at his home in Johannesburg. In 2010, she appeared on the 52nd Annual Grammy Awards, singing a duet of Where Is the Love with Maxwell. Flack influenced the subgenre of contemporary R&B called Quiet Storm, and interpreted songs by songwriters such as Leonard Cohen and members of the Beatles. In February 2012, Flack released Let It Be Roberta, an album of Beatles covers including Hey Jude and Let It Be. It was her first recording in 8 years. Flack knew John Lennon and Yoko Ono, as both parties lived in the Dakota apartment building in New York City and had apartments next door to each other. Flack said that she had been asked to do a second album of Beatles covers. In 2013, she was reported to be involved in an interpretive album of the Beatles classics. At the age of 80, Flack recorded Running for the closing credits song of the 2018 feature documentary 3100, Run and Become with music and lyrics by Michael A. Levine. In 1971, the Village Voice critic Robert Christgau reported that Flack is generally regarded as the most significant new black woman singer since Aretha Franklin. According to her publicist Elaine Schock, Flack passed away at her New York home surrounded by her family. In 2022, Flack announced that she had ALS, commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Roberta Flack died last Monday at age 88.
If you enjoyed the video, kindly hit that subscribe bell and give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you.